So I'm going to do it in English today because we have some speakers from overseas. So hi everyone, I know that we are approaching lunchtime, so I promise that I will end it sharply at 1:30. So first thing, I'm Ivy from Carbon K Lab, NGO focusing on climate justice in Hong Kong. But I would like to do a sense check with everyone in the room first. So no matter what job or industry you're in right now, how many of you feel like your works are related to climate change right now? Can I see some of your hands? Not many, like barely half. So second questions, how many of you feel like your daily lives and your works are actually interrelated to climate change right now? More. So why I would like to start with this is because we are the only one co-organizers for this conference doing climate change, and all the other experienced practitioners are mostly from arts and culture industry. And I'm really thrilled when Louis found me talking about this conference lineup. I feel like, wow, that's something that we will definitely love to do. So climate change, culture, and arts, what I want to talk about is some dimensions. So how do we enhance public engagement and awareness with climate change with all kind of creative art means and also cultural practices? And also what kind of creations have been inspired by climate change? And then last thing is, what are the sustainable practices and also global standards that people are now talking about? So I'd like to start with climate justice. Anyone have heard about climate justice before? Anyone? Oh, yeah, I love you guys. So I would like to use some examples in the regions that talking about climate justice, but in the arts and culture means. So I were just attending the Bangkok Climate Action Week 2025 in September, and there are some of the exhibitions that they are showing on also some of the community art ideas that they use to illustrate climate justice. When we talk about climate change, something we need to talk about is the carbon emissions. So climate change has always been considered a scam, and some of the people really hate people talking about environment. You guys are just throwing tomato eggs onto paintings in the museums. What are you doing? And why are we talking about all these things? I would say that actually climate change is something that's happening forever. It's not something that just popped up in recent years. We have climate change in nature, but because of the industrialization, the human actions are actually worsening and also bringing a very drastic climate change scene. And who are the victims that suffer the most is people who are actually the vulnerable groups. When we talk about vulnerable groups, it's actually very closely related to all of us here, because in just the section talk about ESG, and then we talk about people are focusing on health, maybe poverty, and we're not talking about sustainability anymore. But how about we put it in the lens of it's actually all interrelated. Because of climate change, we have extreme heat, and extreme heat is actually affecting the health situation of people. And it's not something single out. And also when we talk about climate change right now, we can see that some of the pictures here is the exhibition. They say that voices across the borders. They draw 4 of the Southeast Asian countries to put together this exhibition and talk about when we phase away from fossil fuels, how the communities are being affected. There are some coal miners saying that because of we promoting renewable energy, I'm so afraid that I will lose my job. So this is some of the voices that they talk about, and it's actually very down to earth. And some of the materials that they're using are very simple and basic and reusable. Hi. So another photo exhibition in the Climate Action Week is visualizing climate change. So the photographers they put together a lot of pictures telling the stories. For example, this one at the bottom is talking about how the dump field, people are actually exporting a lot of treasures to the Southeast Asian countries to handle all these things. And when we talk about it, when you visualize with photographers, telling the stories, asking people in the community to have some clothes, it becomes very strong. Instead of like me just telling you that, oh, the problem is very serious, like we have to pay attention to it, it's actually something very different when we use the power of art. And then another creative approach, the Superfoods in UK, they actually participate in the New York Climate Week 2023. They did an exhibition putting a lot of like multimedia combining science, AI, organic like displays, and also some of the interactive community workshops that they bring together a lot of people to talk about how climate change is affecting them. Do you have some creative approach to solve, like provide solutions for these kind of things? And then community-based Culture for Climate Scotland is actually a very interesting project that is still ongoing. It's actually the first year they start the project Sea Change. So Sea Change is a multi-year project working with artists in 2 coastal communities that they are threatened by the rise of sea levels. And then they are very interested in knowing how the communities being affected, can they be part of the co-creation to transform a more sustainable way to respond to climate change? And you can see some of the workshops there. They're putting together a lot of ideas, what kind of things that I feel like I can contribute. It's not just I give you some measures and you do it. It's like we come together, we think about solutions, and we try to do things together. I think this actually reacts a lot to the venue we are here right now. The Korea side, they are doing a lot of community making ideas. And I think Hong Kong really have the capacity to initiate some of the projects that are related to maybe some of the elderly who are really being affected by climate change, affecting their health. You know, like in Hong Kong, the summer is going so long and also the temperature is rising so high. So a bit about us. When we talk about climate justice, we more look into the environmental issues in a social way. So in the last section, we talked about ESG and people were talking about, environmental is something that you can quantify and that's why it comes out and stands out more. But we actually look at, like the whole climate change field in a more social approach, which is also related a lot to art and culture. Per se, culture is something that, all the human beings are actually living in, the cultural setting. And I'm not going to skip it because it will like go into another lecture, but some basic concept about climate change on talking about mitigation is about how we, from the root cause, reduce the carbon emission. So it can be like renewable energy. And then when we talk about adaptation is that climate change is happening very rapidly. So how do we help people to adapt to it, build our climate resilience, and most importantly, is a just transition. So we do not just like rocket science, like going to, low carbon community without the transition, but how do we protect the vulnerable groups during the just transition? I think there's a lot of things that artists or, art practitioners can help and contribute in this just transition. And I'm going to do some really local examples so that you understand what we're doing right now. When we talk about mitigation, we do a lot of like renewable energy initiative. We have the solar energy systems that are built. Look at this. So I would like to introduce this very recent site that we have just built at Yuzhongyi Manfagun. And thank you, Kiki, for coming. So we have just put on the meter and then the rebate is running. And I'm very happy that Kiki told me that after we install the solar PV panels, the temperature within the buildings is actually decreasing. So it's actually a very effective means and helping the cultural organizations through mitigations, finding opportunities to generate new fundings for, like climate education or community projects. And back to that, when we talk about adaptation, we also do a lot of things for, vulnerable communities in Hong Kong. But I think we lack a very important element is that when we talk about co-creation, it's not only about technical things. We also need to care about their feelings and how do they express their, experiences. And we really would love to have some collaboration in that means. And then we also do youth empowerment. So that part I'll jump into the last bit because it comes with our guest speakers today. And global sustainable practices. So because our organization is talking about a lot about climate change. So we are actively involved in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And recently, just this year, they have the Art Charter for Climate Actions. And this circle here looks super complicated, but it's very simple. It's just talking about how the arts and culture, no matter like performing arts, visual arts, or community art, or art venues, is actually all interrelated. How do we reduce the negative environmental impact of developing, producing, transporting, and exhibiting like all kind of like art productions? And also how we build the future resilience of the culture sectors. And then you can see a lot of things talking about insurance, technology, shipping, logistics, and they are all very practical. It's not theoretical things. And they also have like the founding members of the ACCA that I just mentioned is the Gallery Climate Coalition. They have some best practice guidelines talking about how arts and culture practitioners can actually look at all this kind of, very daily operation items like from shipping, travel, energy, to kids, decarbonization action plan, and even talking about packaging and climate control when you do all kind of productions. So I think this is something that we need to localize because in the past, experience, we have heard a lot of examples from Europe, from North America, but how do we localize? Like when you talk about that, just the two corporate speakers, they're talking about, oh, do we need the arts and culture sector to really understand ESG? Or are they actually involved? But I'll say that if we do not take action to understand all this, it will add up to the cost. So for example, when we talk about climate risk, the LA fire, threatening the Getty Villa. So it actually involves a lot of the hidden agenda about the potential cost and risk a lot of arts and culture industry are facing. So can we actually do some prevention first? And these are all the good measures that we may help the industry to build something to, find opportunities, build some, cost prevention items. And also one more example is that they have the Art 2030 because 2030 is a very important year for the climate change sector. We look at the national determined contributions, like how the countries are doing in their climate change, 成績表. So this year is very critical, and that's why a lot of international arts organizations in creative climate are focusing on this year. And then the moment they are actually introducing the circular museum, they have a lot of online courses, free resources. Everyone can actually look at those free resources without paying a cost. So maybe for some of the staff members, it can be something very easy, you can just do it online, understanding the basic concept of carbon calculation maybe. When I talk about the carbon calculation for this conference with Louis, I was saying that, if you talk about coffee, it's actually not carbon friendly. It's not a carbon friendly drink. And if you add milk in it, it actually adds more carbon emission. So it's actually that basic. If we talk about cool meal in your production, just take out the beef. No beef for cool meal. And maybe, I don't know, like, I mean, it's actually something very basic and simple. I'm not like saying that now we need to do all kind of ESG measures. It's not practical at all because we have to localize. Currently, why I was asking those two questions at the beginning is like, we have to understand our baseline, where we are right now, and what we can do in something that we can handle, something that we're not aiming to become Europe like in 1 year, but we have to understand where we are right now. So this is something for the future, but when I said about the youth empowerment that I would like to introduce is because we have proudly have the program called Climate Advocacy Training for Youth, CATI, for 6 years already. And we have some of the alumni right now here as the audience as well. But I would really love to introduce a very important guest speaker, Annabelle. She is the CATI 4 cohort, and she went to COP28 in Dubai with us together. As our youth delegate, it's not talking about just like a journey to COP, experience something, do some learning. But after they all come back, we have to ask a very important question. How are you going to bring this kind of global climate scenes and negotiations and adapt to Hong Kong? This is something that we really want to achieve. And that's why when we talk about climate change, it's not only about environmental, but we are talking about all different kind of industries. How are you going to incorporate the elements of sustainability and also environmental friendly and social friendly to ensure that vulnerable groups are being protected? So Annabelle, I'm going to introduce you to tell us about your initiative, Climate X Art. So let's welcome Annabelle. So Annabelle has founded Climate X Art. She is also, wow, I would say that she has a lot of identity. She works in, private investment, but then she also is a violin, player. And she's going to share with us some of the experience that she has internationally and also locally. So can you tell us about what is Climate X Art?
So hi everyone, I'm Annabelle and founder of Climate X Art. So very easy to understand, look at the logo, 2 words, climate change and art. So actually this initiative, the goal is to harness the power of music and arts to raise awareness towards the climate change related problems, but more importantly, to empower people on their climate action. So a lot of people ask, like, how do you relate music and art to climate change? So Ivy did raise a lot of examples, but imagine 2 years ago when I start this initiative, a lot of people just question and say, oh, don't relate both of them. Art is so beautiful, while climate change is disastrous. Well, yeah, I do agree. But have you thought about actually climate change and art is something that is in our daily life every day. We see every day, and climate change is actually indeed our lives too. So it's close to us. So do art. So under this initiative, what I have done is something called Climate Change Concert. So, wow, a climate change concert, what is this? So it's actually a 1.5 hour performance. So I do play violin. So, when I play music, I found that it connects a lot of people. No matter what background you're from, what race are you from, even for the age group, music do connect people together. We sit together, listen, and it brings peace to us. So I found this element is definitely so great and also suitable to put it in climate change context. So you can see in this climate change concert, maybe I can share a bit more. So I will, first of all, there is music element. I play music. Second is there are climate change related topics, education. For example, you can see here is like a 101 class where we talk more about climate change. And at the same time, third one is I introduce them with innovative climate actions that you can do. For example, I collaborate with Invisible Bag and also Tiger Milk. So these are the social enterprise that are based in Hong Kong. And I found people, when they listen to this talk, they always look for some new elements and also look for some easy climate action they can start now. So I collaborate with those brands, making them more visible to different audiences. And also you can see the audience, their age range are really, really wide, age from 6 to even 80 years old. They found it's an interesting way to learn something new, and at the same time they want to maybe during weekend, they enjoy music together with their friends and also families.
So I would like to raise a question to Annabelle, because I think after you found Climate XArts, and then very shortly you went to Dubai with our CCIL delegates, and you're actually invited to do something during the COP28, which usually is a venue, an occasion full of tension. So if you like maybe read something about climate negotiations, it's always about like between countries, there are a lot of I don't want to be responsible for your climate reduction. You have to do your own things. And then some of the countries will come and say, hey, you guys, like you all developed countries are actually contributing a lot to our pollution. How are you going to compensate us? So there are lots of like really intense like negotiations. But Annabelle actually brought a totally different approach to COP28. And she met someone who are also, trying to do that in that approach. And may I know more about that experience during COP28 and why people are interested in knowing about how you combine climate and music in the international level?
Sure. So the COP20 experience is really unique. I would like to share some personal stories. So first one is I was very honored to invited by the United Nations Pavilion. So because at that time they do want to explore some ways to combine art and culture into this topic. So everyone who are sitting here who are artists, definitely, this is something that you should look into and also explore, because people in that like negotiation table or even international organization, they would like to know more about how we can contribute to this issue. And at that time, for my point is, I think like educational approach, we go with a soft approach. So instead of telling people, oh, don't eat beef today, don't drink coffee, but maybe it's a platform for us to really sit down and reflect on our daily life. What have we done first? And then what are the climate action that could start easy and take it today? And then next, it will be good for connect with everybody. So you can see here is like people who are maybe from different countries. Some of them are even working in government. So they do love this kind of educational approach, especially the soft approach. And then, so I do bring one of my program and also perform there, which is redefining the Studio Ghibli world. So under the climate change, Climate XArt, I have been always like delivering like how Studio Ghibli movie and music are actually informing people about this message and also encourage people to do more for the planet. And then next, another story which is not on this screen is other than delivering our ideas and share our approach to a wider group, the second one is I remember when I played like the end of the world in COP28. There is a young negotiator. After I performed, he came to me and said, oh, thank you so much for this music. Because at that day is like the second week of COP28. The negotiations progress wasn't going well. And then he's very anxious about the outcome of COP28. But at that time, he listened to my music and really feel relaxed and there is hope. So this is so surprised to me because I don't think, at first, I didn't think like my music can really inspire people or bring comfort to people. But I find like a musician can actually have this kind of role in this context. And at last, it's very good that I met a lot of other international artists and also photographers. As you can see, there is like my friend, a really good friend of mine from Nigeria. So he's a photographer. So at that time, we do share a lot of what is going on in our countries. So in Nigeria, he told me there are a lot of greenwashing, and then how he used the photo and photography to inspire people and let us know what's going on in Nigeria so that they can collaborate together. So at last, when I come back to Hong Kong, because like always say like we are not observer in a COP, we want to make action with like in COP and also after COP. So I collaborate with him. So after I came back to Hong Kong, he made some videos, and then in the climate change conference, climate change concert. So I played the video of him and then telling like the Nigerian story in Hong Kong, and also like sharing my COP28 experience in Hong Kong. So I feel like there are like many collaborations going on after COP28, and also like thank you CCIL again for like giving me this opportunity, because like this is a definitely eye-opening experience and enable me to go on like international stage to share what like how music and art can actually play a role in climate change.
I would actually say thank you to you instead. Like, we are always inspired by our youth participants in our CADI program because they are all from different backgrounds. So unlike when people think traditionally about climate change, it's like scientists, environmental engineering, we are not like that kind of things. We are actually like people from all different kind of backgrounds. But when Annabelle talk about collaboration, like with the Nigerian artists, for example, how about the collaboration in Hong Kong? Because in the past like sections in yesterday or today, we're actually not talking that much about collaborations. So, you know, like your initiative starting like for 2 years already, what kind of collaborations you would like to see? And maybe for Climate X Arts, what kind of collaborations you're trying to call out today using this kind of like very precious opportunities and platform? What are you looking for?
So I would conclude it into 3 hashtags. The first one is cross-interdisciplinary, and second, partnership, and third, innovation. So, sorry I missed this one, but this is another artist that I also work together, is Oman, who played ukulele and also run marathon. So this project has been selected in a SB conference last year in Germany, in Bonn. So talking about collaboration, right? The first one, cross-interdisciplinary, it's very important because like for today's event, it's such a good example. Louis invited CCIL, who have been like have expertise in this field, and also like they have been doing like carbon related work. So definitely artists, I could see there is like a huge potential for artists and like people who are working in the cultural heritage sector to work with people from like climate change or sustainability field. So this is point one. And second, like about partnerships. So back to Climate X Art, I'm quite lucky, I would say, because I got a lot of support. For example, for the venue, I work closely with Eaton Hotel so that I don't have to care about the cost. It's so expensive to rent a place in Hong Kong, but because of them, I can host it like whenever I want to. And like, of course, like they are very supportive on social or even community work. And for example, because at the same time, I do want people to know more about local brands, like in Hong Kong. So I work with Invisible Bag and Tiger Milk or even CCIL. They provide like content support to me whenever I got questions like how should I improve or what kind of information that people who need more education on. So they will be the advisors to like, oh, maybe you can like talk more about like ESG or even like climate action itself. So partnership is definitely a key on this like whole cultural and also art advocacy. And then third is innovation. So maybe today is also another good example. I haven't seen this kind of conference before in Hong Kong. At COP28, there are a lot. Even in Bangkok, there are like a climate change like cultural conference. So I do see like innovation is something that everybody is like have to keep going and also keep having new ideas. So for me, instead of like asking audience to listen to what I want to say, I let them to speak and also like share what challenges they have in their daily life. So I think like these three keys are like it's like suitable and applicable for everybody. So for Climate XR, actually, we do actually looking for some collaboration. So if you are interested to even just to know more about what you are doing, or even I want to attend to your concert, feel free to let me know. And also additionally, let's say, I got a cool idea about art. Do you want to join? It's definitely today is a good platform and network for you to network it with each other and also me. So I do hope like I could see you in my future events. And actually, I do want to share my next step, which CCIL have been like a preliminary helping with me. So next step for Climate XR is I want to empower musicians to have like a sustainability concept. So I want to do more education, not just for the public, but the people who are in the music or even the art space. So let's see what will happen next year. Or even Louis, you will be like my target for my collaborator too. Thank you.
So thank you, Annabelle, and I'll invite you later back to the stage. It seems like I'm paying her to do advertising for us, like totally not that. But I mean, it's very encouraging to see how our young generation is actually contributing a lot right now, not for the future, but for now. And our COP30 delegates has just arrived Brazil 2 hours before. Yeah, so it took them like 40 hours traveling to Brazil. And we always have that question, why are we doing all this kind of carbon emission, traveling so long time, doing all this carbon footprint to such a far away place to attend that conference? But I think after all, when you really have the chance to participate in that kind of negotiations and have the feeling of injustice, then you have the motivation coming back to do your own initiatives. That's what we see in our youth. But beside that, I'll actually choose a little bit of the angle because we talk about youth empowerment, climate mitigation, adaptation. But one more important thing is about the partnership, building partnership. And I'm going to invite another expert that is really good at partnership because Samson from Echo Asia, they have do a lot of initiatives with corporates, with NGOs, with a lot of different parties. And they have just celebrated their 10th year anniversary. So may I invite Samson to introduce to us what Echo Asia, why do you have that, vision of combining, creative industry and sustainability back like 10 years ago? Why do you have that idea?
Thank you. I would like to start with this. This is like, for one morning you wake up and then you think that, you see your dreams come true. This is the morning that I wake up and dreams come true. Honestly, first of all, I would really want to thank you for CUSU and then the committee of CUSU and Louis to make these dreams come true. I have dreamed today to have such a conference to bring in culture and sustainability and ESG people together for quite a long time. I don't want to say how long it is. I talked to Betty about how long I've been thinking of, and very lucky in the middle of the year, you find me and I say, we have a CUSU, and then we interview with Louis, and great visionary. So really thankful. I really look forward to the growth of CUSU. So thank you. First of all, 俾掌聲你自己先. Thank you for coming. Annabelle's story, we know each other for a long time. Annabelle's story bring me to my old client story. And I'm going to bring in that story first. I remember when I was young, 當我入行嘅時候, my first or second job is to help a client that you always, visit them, Wei Hong, to help them to communicate one simple idea. Okay, I'm going to say, 用少啲膠袋. Okay, so use less plastic. But remember when the government, do the pledge on getting people to 唔好用咁多膠袋, and then before that, after that, we initiate like a one month and then something like that. So the client brief to us is, okay, how are you going to communicate this message to the moms, to the moms or to 姐姐, okay, your mate. So, okay, we go back and then we think, how do we do that? Oh, now we have this idea. So the idea was music, okay? We found local musicians named Ketchup, if you know Ketchup, okay, to help us to compose a 好得意嘅 kindergarten song. And then we produce this kindergarten song, and then we reach out. I remember my person doing the phone, 80 kindergarten school, 打電話去, hi, we want to give you our music materials, with the compo, with the compo, and a CD. So you know how old it is. It's a CD, all right? A CD, a compo, and then a very nice booklet. For you, for the kindergarten music teacher, to take it, to do that, they have that, right? Every morning they have the kids' songs, right? So we bring these songs into 80 kindergarten. All the kids gonna learn and sing is 用少啲膠袋, da da da. Something like that. I forgot the song. How was it? But it's by Ketchup. I can bring it. You can find it on YouTube. So that was actually quite successful. The successful point is the kids learn the song. He or she go back to the mom and say, come on, how did I make it? What we can learn today? So the communications was sort of, it's a whole 轉接, so indirect. So I have to relay the music teacher teach the kids to sing the song for a few times. The kids go back to the mom saying, I want to learn today. So he and she learned today is 用少啲膠袋. So that actually works, okay? And at the end, I have to do some commercial thing is to, in 7-Eleven, in, welcome, and then put all the tank card and say, 用少啲膠袋, and all these things. And then play the song when you're shopping. You the song, the song, you係嗰啲咩 UUU, right? Okay? It's not UUU at the time. At the time, it's Ketchup, where they go, so for a month. So that was the brief how we answered it. I remember now, I did that job, so recalling to that. So my learning from that moment was experience. Experience will move people to change a little bit, just a little bit, of their behavior. So I learned the experience. I started this company 10 years ago. What we wanted to do is, while we do it commercially, making some money, we are helping some other smaller voices to amplify their voices. So that's the goal that we build these organizations. 2 years ago, I have an ambition, another ambition dream. I did something I would call 蝕錢嘢. Okay, so not money making. It's to do things called eco artwork, 藝景遊, 藝術環境遊蹤. I did it 2 years. This is 2025, 2024. We did that. So what is it? It is from the main point of view is people will precipitate an event. Actually, it's a walkathon, like a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and in a specific regions, for example. Okay, I'm going to go down. Here we go. Okay. The first thing we did is in 上灣, 呢個蘇豪區, and then we picked 10 different little local stores. Okay, some are coffee shop, some are small shops, some are pet shops, and then convert the store into a 1 week art exhibitions. So I'm not in a business in art. I'm not. I'm just a communicator. So what luckily I find this. Sorry. I call and call and call. I find local Hong Kong 10 different people and 10 different artists and designers. Ask them, and actually we pay them, okay? We pay them, hey, can you help us to, build your art piece in whatever format? When I say whatever format is, it could be print, sculpture, or experience into this local store, okay? Oops. This local store. So the idea is to convert your retail experience into an art appreciation experience while walking. 但係要行嘅, okay? So I think our idea was quite wild because we don't give people a specific route, okay? Our starting point,執咗粒㗎啦. No, I mean, not 執粒. They closed down. It's Kin San Sudi, all right? We start with Kin San Sudi in Soho. And then the ending point is, everyone know that, right? Fringe Club, okay? Very lucky, Fringe Club like that, they ran out for free as an art exhibition space. So it's a 10 location, 10 art experience in 10 different settings. In one day. So the whole walk is about 1.5, 2 hours, mamahan. But if you want to take a coffee, if you want to take a dog to, and your lover, whatever, take a photo, it can spend your whole afternoon. So the first year was quite successful. I will call successful. We have 200 participants. We sold tickets at about $500, okay? We sold 200 people. So first year,我哋冇蝕錢 okay? Second year 蝕錢㗎嚇 okay? And then we get people to help to come, and not even people, I mean, they bring the pets too. It's a pets-friendly event, all right? So some photos, some curations. I would like to talk about, once again, I'm not in the art business, but we want to do something like that. We want to convert people, but our brief to the artist is whatever format you want to, but think about, try to be, I won't say環保, try to see if your materials used or the weight of productions can somewhat recyclable. Okay, so the brief was that. So it's 幾難喎，呢個都試下點樣整環保啲。I say no, it's not about 環保. It's about how are we gonna, maybe you can do this with different materials. So actually, it's a quite challenging brief to them. So luckily, we have different kind of curations. We also want to make it more, I would say, in Cantonese 立體啲, and then more people driven. Luckily, we invited Samson, as also Samson, right? Dr. Samson Wong, to help us to host a walk, tour by him. So the class was, the workshop was filled very quickly, like 60 people follow him 行嚟行去咁樣. So he, him, right? So he talked about things and things. Music. So we end up with, we're hiring one local artist called Colin K, and then invite them to host a little music shows in Fringe Club. So the whole thing is, this is second year. So go. Right, the second year. Okay, I'm gonna skip. Okay, the whole thing, how are we gonna put it up? Because our company is a small company, we only have 10 people, and 10 people are not only doing the eco art work, we have to do business, we have to do sales. We also want to do some local committee things. We have all these partners, helping us. They are a local store, they are small buddies, and also they're actually from everywhere. So I just, call up all my phone book. Hey, can you help us? We have, eco hour and da. So no, okay, no, next time. Okay. So the thing is, I will just try my network and see who are they that can help and collaborate. The more people join the program, the better the energy it is. So I'm going to skip. Right, thank you. So
okay,
that's the story.
I have questions to you. I think Samson is the very brave person who is willing to invest a lot of time and resources trying new initiatives. Just like what Benny was mentioning before, talking about partnership, it's more like co-creation. But I also heard from you that like you feel like the readiness of Hong Kong like arts practitioners or cultural practitioners is not that high maybe sometimes. So how do you see the challenges when you try to line up everything, put the sustainability concept into the organizing all these kind of events, and what kind of like opportunities do you feel like that can tackle all these challenges?
I'll answer like this. Actually, it's not about readiness. Actually, it's about their, I would say, when we talk to the artists, almost half of them is the willingness. Most of them are willing to do that. It's just most of them willing to do, but they sort of not heard about it, not sure how to do it, and not sure the standard to do it. Okay, not talking about a standard. So I think it's about, the challenge is about, do they understand? Do they know why we want to do that? And so that will be, I would say, the awareness and the understanding of the subject. So like the conference like today is a very good opportunity that, people know, we understand now. Next time when we go back to do our production event, our art shows, how we do that more, how we do incorporate the sustainability. So I think the readiness is actually, I was pushed back one step is about, have they heard about it? Will they see the reason why we want to do that? So I would say that. And for the challenges, there's the opportunities. I would say in Hong Kong, starting from this conference, I would say the opportunity is just, way to go. We have far more things we want to do. And as I see your slideshow, the MoMA, right? Circular economy. I think in Hong Kong scene, I would still see we are still at the, not baby stage, but we are in a kindergarten stage. We can climb that, ladder and to benchmark with some international player. Yeah, not necessarily to the top, but I think there's room to grow. So I sincerely look for the community and the industry stakeholder to, try to be innovations too. I would say sustainability in somewhat is about innovate. It's about, can I do that? Try this way, and then with that partner, and maybe have this result. You have to try. Sometimes you fail, right? Sometimes you fail. Sometimes you succeed in a big way, like today.
Thank you, Samson. It's actually very encouraging. Like, he is doing businesses, but he is willing to invest the resources to do something that is quite dreamy, I would say, like at the initial stage. So may I invite Annabelle back to the stage as well, setting up one more chair for her. And so, because I was told by Louis that you have to reserve more time for interactions. So, okay, we still have 12 minutes. I would like to see that. Oh, okay. I have a questions online saying that I heard a lot on the European and US discussion on climate justice, but not much in Hong Kong. I wonder what are the examples of working towards a just transition, specifically in Hong Kong, from a framework of energy or climate justice. There are distributional, procedural, epistemic, and recognition justice. Wow. This question is actually a lecture of our climate advocacy training. I think I need to go in a very brief way of what examples we have right now in Hong Kong. I'll take what we have been doing as an example. Every summer, we have done a heat survey together with people living in the inadequate housing units. So, in Hong Kong, we have subdivided units, people living in the industrial building, people living in the rooftop. And when summer comes, it actually can be as bad as 40-something degrees. And we cannot tell people, hey, don't turn on the air conditioning. It's not good for the environment. I think this is very arrogant to do it because you have to understand what kind of living environment and what kind of difficulties they're right now facing. And when we talk about just transition, we have to ensure that they're prepared for the climate resilience that we're talking about. So that's why during the survey, we actually engage all the residents taking part in the survey, and they actually record every day what kind of feelings they have. So it can be something like, I actually do a lot of labor-intensive works. I'm like a street cleaner, and I can only sleep for 3 hours because of the extreme heat during the nighttime. And also, I'm so worried about the electricity bill. It can cost a lot. Like compared to the small unit they have, it can be like 1,500 each month going to the electricity bill with only 60 square feet of a room. And all these kind of things, when we heard about it, what we can do for them. This is something when we call just transition, we have to include their opinions, their comments, and also some of the indigenous and street wisdom to incorporate in the programs that we're doing. I'm not going to really go through all the four definition. I think that's too much for today's section. So may I know if there's any questions for Annabelle or Samson for the four? May I know if there's anyone who are interested in, Okay.
Just a very quick one on the soft approach. Like Annabelle mentioned about the soft approach, and Samson also mentioned about the readiness and willingness. So how do you reach your crowd when it is a very tough crowd, that it needs something harder? So because when it comes to readiness and willingness, probably sometimes a soft approach is not enough. So as artists, what are your suggestions? So like harder approach? What are they?
Okay, so maybe I could share a bit of my experience. So I do agree, coming to a sustainability, climate change topic, some people are really reluctant. But to be honest, those are not the people who I target at first, because it takes a long way and time for me to really let them know, what is going on over there and why it is a true or facts that's happening right now. So for my climate change concerts, I have hosted around 25 concerts right now, reaching around 1,000 of people. But most of them I'll target because I'll target to parents and kids. So let's say if the parents who are not interested in this topic, they still want to go out during weekends, right? Giving them some artistic programs for the children to learn. So this is one of the approach that I do take. And also for another way is for people who love music, I use music to lure people to come. For example, I do a bit of classical or even Studio Ghibli music, which are popular. So these are the, I would say, opening door for me to really let them to come first, and then I'll start explaining and let them to do reflection instead of you come lah, it's interesting, but maybe a bit of correlation of, let's say, people who love music or people who have kids or just want to find some leisure activities during weekends.
I think you might want to get, if your program is really visionary and sort of creative and innovative, no one did it before. What you needed, you might need a trusted partner, or even more solid partner that people know of. So that's why we do the Eco Award. We have partners, say for example the Fringe Club. And so people heard about the Fringe Club, not Eco Award. So sort of relations, and that will help you to build the trust. And so that when the people who participate, maybe this kind of event I would like to want to go. I would say your partnership could be very important to when you do something adventurous, or I would say experimental. Yeah, thank you.
So thank you for sharing from the speakers. I have questions for Annabelle and also one for Samson. So for Annabelle, I was just wondering, how would you measure the impact you're making through the concert? Just now you mentioned the number of audience, but how would you evaluate how much they understand or they would change their behavior after the concert? And then for Samson, just now you mentioned you try to sort of integrate ideas of sustainability in the walkathon or in the exhibition, but we understand, climate change or sustainability is a kind of complicated language. So how do you bridge the artists and also this kind of language? How do you ensure they have the capacity to implement sustainability in their artwork? Yeah, thank you.
So thank you for the question. So first, for my climate change concert, in a quantitatively way, we are zero waste concert. So we don't do ticketing, we all have QR codes. Even for poster, we have it digital, and also we don't, even for the prize that we give out, we try to get it from Green Prize, which is nearly expired food. So we want to try to minimize the waste that we have for each concert. But another question, another way that we do, how to continue our measure and also success is instead of we keeping on going for the same topic for many times, or even have this will be our next stage, but we collaborate what Samson mentioned. For example, let's say if there are NGOs who are looking for volunteers, we will help them to promote. So let's say we talk about ocean pollution in the concert, we recommend them, there is a project looking for volunteers, and that will be another next step to do more advocacy work.
Great questions. Sometimes this kind of questions from a client. We're in a business in communications, so I think the brief to the artist, first of all, is to hopefully they can insert some sustainability message or environmental protections message into the art. So in terms of either the way the presentations or the meaning of his art, he or she artwork. So I think that's number one. Number two is when we present the artworks to our participants, we have some tour guide, and then we make sure the tour guide will talk about the sustainability message behind the art. Okay, we assume the people who come today, to the Eco Award, they're already willing to know these things, so we just provide more in-depth details. The response of, the crowd was more 200 people, 300 people, but what they respond was great. They sort of say, I like this event, can you hold this for next year? I say,如果你有錢，我哋下年嚟搞, So that's that. On the other hand is also, I think once again, is about the partnerships, the collaborator that, the store owner, no matter who they are, the pet store or the coffee shops, they themselves is already a circular business. So I think we're targeting two groups. One is the existing customer, and one is new people who go to the shops. And they now I know this coffee shop is actually fair trade coffee shop. So something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. I wonder how do you scale up your project? Imagine that 5 years later, what will happen in Hong Kong? What's your vision? Thank you.
Oh, I can try to say that. I think scaling up is something very important, but you also have to have a very solid foundation. Saying, for example, our community adaptation project, we pilot for 4 years in Kwai Chung area before we start to really launch it. Because if you do not do some pilot experiment, it's very hard for you to really understand the impact and what are the challenges and how are you going to tackle it. Saying, for example, today, this conference, we are starting from a smaller scale, inviting people who may be our potential partners in the future. I would say 5 years later, I'm really optimistic because of the ground level, the baseline we are right now at, we have so much that we can do? I will say no.
No. Very fair.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. 5 years from now to there are lots of things, lots of work to do. But I will say, I mean, I'm going to push for this theme. So once again, it's about partnership. It's about not only talking to your, I would say, comfort zone partners. You might want to try some new different sector of partners, although they speak different languages, although they have different work culture and things. But those are the people might help you to, expand your horizon. I think that's what I usually do is, 今年我哋試下同呢個合作，睇下得唔得先But you have to摸住石頭睇過河 and stuff like that. But you need to try, and then you have to be safe. And because you have some old partners, right? So the old partners will have your own call something like that.
Actually, you already got all the points that I want to share. It's like partnership and take action now. If you have any ideas, just try it out first. You'll never know how it goes, but always a good opportunity for you to get some feedbacks and also like improve your own initiative and projects.
Maybe I add one more as the conclusion of the section as well. I think interdisciplinary is something very, very important because when we talk about art and culture, it's actually not only art and culture, it's talking about the communities you're involving and also the people around you. And when we talk about climate change, it's also not just about scientific data, environmental issues. There are lots ongoing that are all very intertwined and related. And I think it's very important that when we project something 5 years later, are you the one who are willing to build up the partnership from scratch? Maybe because of my own background, I worked in art and culture sector before. I work in corporate, I work in philanthropy, NGO. And that's why I totally understand when you talk about the different languages. And I think it's you have the passion to really link up to people from different sectors to talk about one single issue that you are really, really devoted to. So it's all about empathy. If you have the empathy of the issues that you're concerned about, maybe heritage, how are you going to make it sustainable? It's something, always hanging in your mind, then you will start to plan for something. 5 years later, I'm not just solving one financial difficulty of right now, but I am actually projecting a sustainable goal that happen in 5 years' time. So that is something very important that we have that, collaboration between sectors and trying to reach out to people that you feel like this partnership sounds very ridiculous, but just go for it. Like when I just start talking to my colleagues in Carbon Cat in the lab saying about the conference, and then they're like, what? We are doing climate mitigation adaptation, something very hardcore. So what are we going to chip in that conference? And it's like, no, we have a lot of obligation. If we know something, you have to be responsible, taking into accountability to help the sector to do capacity building and trying to make changes. So, thank you so much for Samson and Annabelle. Passing the time back to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's give a big applause to all the panelists for all